What's up, guys? Thanks for tuning in to TwistedYounginz, the most unorthodox show on the globe. I am one of your hosts, Myra B. King.
And this is Desi Des.
And it's your boy Mojo in the building. We have a special guest with us today, sir. Let the people know who you are.
Yeah, shalom to all that's listening. This is Brother Yadawad.
Welcome to the show.
Absolutely.
Thank you for giving us your time. Where are you from? Wait, how do you pronounce your name again?
Yadawad, you could just call me Yada for short. Yada means intelligent. Yadawad means beloved by God in Hebrew, in the ancient form of Hebrew.
Okay.
Yadawa. Okay. So where are you from, Yadawa?
I'm from Vegas, Las Vegas, Nevada.
Okay, cool. Nice. So that's where you are now?
Yeah, that's where I'm at right now.
Okay, cool.
Brother, how do you find the Lord in Sin City?
Right.
What was it like growing up out there, man?
Growing up out here, it's real small. Kind of like everybody know everybody if you were born from Vegas, I guess, and if you was like a 90s baby. But now the city is so big, it's like a city of over 2 million. So I'm not sure because I pretty much I've been a homebody since I've been like 21. You know, like everybody in Vegas growing up, it's like you kind of get burnt out of doing the fun stuff before you even turn 21 because it's so accessible. So
that's understandable. So basically, it wasn't nothing new. It ain't nothing new to you. You know what I'm saying? Y'all ain't new to this. Y'all true to this. So y'all get over it.
Yeah, you know.
Were you indulging in sin at this time?
When I was I definitely was. You know, I definitely had my days. I came up as a local rapper here, and like I said, it's a small city, and with my music and who I was connected to, we took it to the next level. So just coming up as a teenager, I was in newspaper articles, I was in the local magazines, I was doing shows, opening up for acts, things like that. So, you know, when it comes to the music, if it's not, I just figured if it's anything secular, you know, you bound to, you know, cross those lines and, you know what I'm saying, like get into like the smoking and then the drinking and then the multiple women and then it, you know what I'm saying, and it just keep going and going, you know, sooner or later you start living the lyrics you rapping about, you know what I'm saying? So it's just like, you know, that's one thing that led me to Christ, you know what I'm saying? I had to kind of lead that lifestyle and pretty much, you know, come to Christ because that's mainly what I was doing. You know, I had one foot in the street, one foot in this music. And then, you know, I had a son. And then that's kind of like what made me make the decision, like, okay, you know, I need to find the Most High.
What made you turn to God?
Right.
No, I'm saying what made you turn to God?
Oh, you said what made me turn? To be real, like, I came up as a Jehovah Witness. You know, my family is Jehovah Witness, and I just remember Jehovah Witness church. It was cool. We got to study and everything, but it wasn't really like registering with me. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't really feeling it. And then I gave it another chance when I had my son, and that made me turn like, okay, this got the way. Like I gotta go. I gotta have a clear understanding on what these scriptures say. Like these scriptures was having people, you know, worship something that they'll never be able to see, wake up every Sunday and go, you know, I gotta give it a chance. So I gave it a chance. And when my son was here, I was just like, this is gonna be my duty from now on. I gotta be able to tell my son who God is because nobody was there to do that for me.
Amen.
And I don't want my son to grow up, you know, not knowing who God is, because then he might go and get off into some esoteric stuff or, you know, all these other religions that's out there, you know, and I just kind of figured like as long as I got the knowledge, my son would be straight, pretty much. That's half of it. The other half is it could have been a vicious cycle. And I had to find the Most High to, you know, pray, fast, and ask for an answer, ask for a way. Like, you know, I don't want this to be a vicious cycle because it could have very much easily been a cycle where my son would have been doing the same thing that I was doing, you know, and I'm trying to provide a better way.
So
Absolutely.
you are a Christian, correct?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
I'm a Christian.
And
yeah.
your family is a Jehovah Witnesses?
Yeah, they Jehovah Witnesses, yeah.
Okay, so how was that growing up, and how did you kind of venture off and like seek Jesus and get the truth? Like, what led you down that path?
So what led me down that path was pretty much just like I wasn't feeling the Jehovah Witness church. They're Christians too. It's just the fact that I don't think they understand what being a Christian is. And it's just that wasn't the whole Bible. And it led me to pretty much search in the Bible myself instead of having somebody read it to me. And as I'm reading it and I start to see certain things that they will always skip over, I started to learn that their Bible has less, it's like 24 or 42 scriptures taken out their Bible. So I was always like, I need to get down to the truth. You know, I'm that type of person where it's like, you know, I need the truth. If I'm gonna stand on this, if I'm gonna teach this to my son, if I'm gonna really profess this and have a zeal for the Most High, I gotta know the truth. So I wasn't getting that from the Jehovah Witness Church. Everything was blurred lines. Anytime I had a question, it'll get diverted to that doesn't matter, or you know, that's not important. And I just felt those things were important to me. And if I'm asking these questions, eventually my son would, or any seed that I choose to have, you know. So I just figured, like, you know, I don't want to bring up my family, you know, in a Jehovah Witness type of atmosphere. I don't, you know, I just told myself, you know, I think I'm gonna be able to find God my way. And what ended up happening was, as I'm reading Genesis, I'm reading about Nimrod, and I'm reading about the languages and how the Most High pretty much dispersed everybody and changed the language for everybody. And as I'm doing research on this, I'm researching. I'm like, you know what? What's the oldest language in the world? It's Sanskrit. I'm like, okay, but they didn't write no Bibles in Sanskrit. So I'm like, it can't be Sanskrit. So what is it? And I found out that it's Paleo Hebrew, and the name of it is actually called the Lashawan Quadash, which stands for it means the holy tongue in Paleo Hebrew. And as I'm watching this video, and rest in peace, this brother that made this video on YouTube, he just passed away probably about last month. He's breaking down the ancient characters of the Hebrew language and his pictographs, and he's breaking it down, and I'm getting his knowledge, and I'm seeing him. He has these fringes on his shirt. He got a picture of Christ, and he's black. And I'm like, you know what I'm saying? I'm like, what is this dude into? So, you know, that's kind of what led me to be actually a Hebrew Israelite. You know what I'm saying? So I'm a Hebrew Israelite, but my faith is Christian. And that's how it is for all Hebrew. I can't say all because there's so many different factions. But if you want to try to get this thing right, you have to be a Christian, because Christ, who we call Yahweh Shai, he said, it's no longer about being a Jew outwardly. You know what I'm saying? It's no longer about that. It's about you having faith in the Most High and his son, Christ. So a lot of people get pretty much like confused when it comes to the Hebrew Israelites, but there's not enough of us that's out there telling the truth of what's going on. Everybody keeps going to these factions that have a huge influence, but they're teaching the people wrongly, and they're doing it outside of the scriptures, outside of the Bible. Because the people I study with, we stay in the Bible and we try our hardest not to use anything else, which it's called sola scriptura, meaning using the Bible and nothing else. So, you know, after Jehovah Witness, I ended up, you know, being a Hebrew Israelite ultimately, and I'm still am today. It's just the way I move is not the same way how people see it, because now it's starting to be a big thing, and it's a lot different the way you know how me and my camp does it.
Yeah, I mean, It's gotten to a point nowadays. I mean, obviously we are Hebrews and we are Israelites, but like you said, it's not about, if you read the Bible fully, it's not about that. Like one thing I learned about when I was digging into the Jehovah's Witness was the first thing that jumped out with me was the speaking in tongues. That was something that bothered me because they don't believe in speaking in tongues. And I'm like, how could you not? In the book of Acts, that's how they knew they had the Holy Ghost. They start speaking in tongues. And then there was the whole 144,000, which obviously is true. The 144,000 were sealed in chapter 7 in the book of Revelations. But people seem to get over the fact that in chapter 9, he said, and lo, I beheld a number of all the nations, a number that I couldn't count. And everybody's like, oh, well, he couldn't count that number. You ain't got to worry about it. God don't have to count the number. He knows those that are his. You know what I'm saying? God knows those that are his. And he said a number of all nations. So those are some of the things that jumped out to me where I was like, man, it's kind of confusing. And then a lot of the Hebrew Israelites, we all believe in the same thing, but then you start to learn that some of the denominations, they don't believe in Jesus. Like they don't believe Jesus.
Right.
Some of them don't believe in, the New Testament. They just strictly in the Old Testament. A lot of them stick to the Old Testament, Torah, things of that nature. So
and they try to lump everybody in, and if you say I'm a Hebrew Israelite,
yeah, and and like you said, different branches and things like that. So that's one crazy thing. On your journey, what were some of the things that stood out to you more than others, as far as on your journey of you learning about the Hebrews and things of that nature?
Some things that stood out more than others, I would say, was like the chart. The Hebrew Israelites, a lot of groups, I don't believe in them. The camp I study with, we don't believe in the chart, but it's this chart that's pretty much has like, it's saying Native Americans and Hispanics are Hebrew Israelites. And, it's been debates about it in the community. It's been debates that's been on stage, like platforms like Netter and, different platforms like that about it. And I just couldn't see how they could be Hebrew Israelites. So that always kind of stood out to me. Things like that. Another thing was, I want to say mainly that. And then the other thing was learning about how Europe was black, when I say black, melanated. But Europe was melanated. Russia was melanated. When I learned about that, that kind of blew my mind, and it kind of made me like, okay, I need to dig deeper into my heritage, because for my whole life I've been called an African American, and it doesn't make sense to be called, two continents, right. And then let alone a color, being called black, and it's like I can't book a ticket and fly to black, right? I can't fly to African American. I can't fly there. I need to figure out where I came from. Like this was part of my journey, and like those things stood out to me. Like, when I was with Hispanics and Native Americans being Hebrew Israelites, because I was like, oh, it makes sense. We treated kind of the same by the police, and we kind of treated the same in our communities. Our communities look the same. We got hoods, yeah. It was like register me, but I was like, as I'm doing more studies on it, I'm like, nah, this is an African thing. This came from Africa, and they came from Asia, and it's like that whole mindset of them being Hebrew Israelites didn't come into One West. And my video on TikTok I did recently, I explained how the wake of the Hebrew Israelites came from like the 1700s with the Gullah War, Nat Turner, and the Battle of Cinco de Mayo, and like all these battles that happened. It was with black folks. Some Indians was in the mix, but it was mostly with black folks. And I'm thinking to myself, like, well, if that's true, how come these Hispanics and Native Americans, how come you don't see too many of them as Hebrew Israelites wearing the fringes on the corners with the brothers and things like that? Like certain stuff didn't make sense. And that just made me double down on my Africanness. You know what I'm saying? I had to double down. I'm like, I'm gonna go get a DNA test. I'm gonna get it from I want to get DNA tests from different DNA companies. And I want to really figure out, like, who am I as a person, as Yada? You know what I'm saying? My faith is good with the scriptures, but the scriptures is telling me that I'm a Hebrew Israelite. Like, what does that mean? I need to know, what that means. And I need to be able to explain it to others. And I need to be able to explain it to my son, because we not African Americans, and I'm not taking that no longer. And I'm not going to sit here and be okay and say, melanated. That's a scientific term. Right. I'm nobody's sign project. You know what I'm saying? But you know, that was like my main, I want to say excitement as far as my journey, you know, learning that stuff and then being closer to the Most High, learning the languages, learning Christ's name in Hebrew, learning God's name in Hebrew and things like that. That all those things excite me, actually kept me in my boundaries to say, this is the truth, stay with this. This is what's going to keep you close to the Most High, and not you know, you won't fall off if you stay with this. Because truthfully be told, it's never been very, very interesting to me. Like when I did have one foot in the street, one in music, I was into like, you know, the Kabbalion and like law of attraction, emeralds tablets, things that brought like, you know, materialism to me. Yeah. You know, and I found those things interesting. And I can say the same thing for some of our women out there, some of the sisters out there, they find like witchcraft interesting because truthfully be told, it is interesting. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you know, for something to keep me interested 24/7 into the scriptures has been being a Hebrew Israelite. I'm learning language. I'm learning my people. I'm learning customs. It's holidays. You know, this is what kept me in my boundaries to serve the Most High.
Amen. Absolutely, brother. I appreciate that. I mean, do you believe that, you know, the Aztecs and the Mexicans are in Issachar's tribe?
I believe Aztecs because that's a Hebrew word. That means people of the time in Hebrew.
Well, don't some people say the Aztecs was like
Olmecs and
like
stuff,
black people?
Yeah, no. They there's a picture of an Aztec couple and they got afros. They look black.
Yeah, because the Olmec statues, that's African features like this.
Yeah, they look black, and they you know, another thing that I found or that I actually happened to me when I was in the truth, and I could tell this testament to you is gonna be on topic and everything, is I'm out teaching in Las Vegas on Las Vegas Boulevard, and we had some Tongans come up to us. And to be honest, those Olmec heads, they kind of look like the Tongans, but the Tongans got afros. There's pictures of the Tongans with picks and riding surfboards. You know, I'm talking like the Tongans is like over there, like in the South Pacific, near like Fiji and the Polynesian Islands. So, you know, there's a lot of history out there that shows that they was kind of traveling the Pacific Ocean and they was over there. So, and a lot of Israel, we do say that they Israelites. Some people say that they Japhet. But when I spoke to these Tongans and I showed them the Hebrew alphabet, they automatically started reading it from right to left. And that's not normal. You know, here living in America, we read from left to right. So for them, for me seeing them read from right to left, and then them kind of knowing the Hebrew characters, I was like, that's crazy. And we it's a video of us doing this on YouTube, and it ain't go viral, but it has views, and people was like, oh, they're still not Israelites. We were stirring up the people with this video because we was like, these people got to be Israelites if they can read right to left and read the ancient Paleo Hebrew. Mm-hmm. And we were speaking to the women that was doing this. They were saying, well, our grandparents are as dark as you, and they were teaching us this, but the schools wasn't. That the schools was assimilating us to be Mormons. And that's what's going over there, you know, in those islands. And we don't hear a lot about the Polynesians, about their slave trade with the black burden, you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of like what I'm saying. Like, you know, that's why Israel's so split up, is because, you know, the mainstream Israelites out there, they don't want to teach that. You know, they want to stay with what One West, whatever One West was teaching in the 60s and the 70s, that's what they want to stay with. And me, on the other hand, I'm like, I'm not praising One West. My ancestors been doing this Hebrew Israelite stuff. The glory goes to all of them and everybody in the scriptures, in Christ, in the Most High. Absolutely. Not no camp. You know, I'm not going not to one camp and not one man.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I'm with you on that. I mean, it's a lot, because when we're talking about it's deep, you know, you've got a lot of tribes out here, people that they're trying to throw in the tribes. And then you've got a lot of Hebrew Israelites trying to throw people out of the tribes. So you got things of that nature too,
Right.
especially when you're talking about African American. I told me and my grandmother, she's still alive. She's up in her 80s. We talk about this all the time. I say one of the worst things we probably did in America was label ourselves during the civil rights was African Americans. Get rid of the word Negro and say African Americans. Because when we came over, they were calling us Negroes, but they were calling us that for a reason. That's where they picked us up.
We got rid of it, or did they title us that?
Right. We didn't get black people didn't get rid of it.
We didn't get rid of it, but we also campaigned for them to stop calling us Negroes.
But they automatically stopped doing that too. They start covering it up.
Yeah, they knew we'd be able to trace those.
No, absolutely. And we fed into it thinking that they were doing something righteous for us and not knowing that, like you said, they were trying to wash us out. They were trying to get rid of our history and wash us away, which they've usually done throughout history. They've been successful at it up until this point now. We're at today where you got you digging, doing everything that you can.
Right.
We're doing the best digging that we can. And the information's out there. You just got to look for it.
Right.
And it's crazy.
Absolutely.
So tell us about your music, man. You put it in your music?
Yeah, I put it in my music. I got a music video that we currently editing. We shot it in Miami. It's actually available on all platforms. I go under the rap name Yada Black. So if you search Yada Black, Premeditated Motivation, that's the name of the single. And then I got another one called Call of Duty. And yeah, man, I put it in my music. I changed my whole sound and my whole image.
Absolutely.
All praises to the Most High.
That's good.
That's beautiful, man.
And just put it out there, or just make a edification video for TikTok, YouTube, things like that. That's just like something that I feel like I'm putting in my brick for the kingdom,
How often do you read the word and like do research?
Really every day, honestly. Every day. The word give me life.
Okay.
There you go.
Are you married or anything?
No, not married.
Are you celibate?
Yeah.
Man, you thought about that for a minute, brother. Come on now.
You over there looking good. Got
yeah, no. It's definitely like a woman that but I kind of told her like once you throw in sex, that's stuff for marriage. That's marriage stuff, and I learned that as a young man, having my first son. You know what I'm saying? And me not being with his mother. So it's like, the way that the scriptures tell you is, you could go and court a young woman, you know what I'm saying? But, that's where you keep it at, you keep it at that. And then when you serious, then it's the marriage is, you know what I'm saying? You guys could be one accord. But yeah, honest to God, that's what's going on.
What's up, brother? That's what's up.
That's
good, brother. Man. Keep spreading the word, man. We really appreciate you.
Will do. I appreciate everything.
Yes, sir.
What in the Hebrew language do you find is the most intriguing thing, especially far as us over here in America, and not African Americans, but as far as us being over here in America? What's one thing that we should specifically pay attention to?
I think we should pay attention to. I think we should pay attention to. Being a Hebrew Israelite is our culture, not hip hop. Our culture is being a Hebrew Israelite, and it comes with a language. It comes with a certain dietary list we're supposed to be eating. It comes with fashion. It comes with these things, and the world won't know us and won't know our language until we form all this stuff together and we be on one accord. So the world will be like, oh man, we love because we have maximum influence on the world. Everybody want to be a Negro. Yes, even the Africans over there, everybody want to dress like us. So we got the influence, but it's like, let's do it for the Most High, y'all. Let's do it for the Most High this time. And let's see where that brings us. Because so far, us wearing other brands and stuff, it brings us nowhere. So like when I'm looking into the language, I'm like, man, this is crazy. You would think that this is Hebrew, but it's called the Lashawan Quadash, which is the holy tongue. And it's like, that kind of blew me away. I was like, man, the holy tongue, like, you know what I'm saying? I was like, it sounds like it's a sacred language. And it is, because when you get into that language, you find the Most High's true name, which is Yahweh. And I don't say I don't say it a lot. I say it when I pray. I say it when I'm teaching. But whenever I'm talking, I usually refer to the Most High. Being a Jehovah Witness, they always say Jehovah this, Jehovah that. And the scriptures tell you, don't be saying the Most High's name like that. And then the other thing people should understand is like, find out what Jesus' name, what did his mama call him? What did the disciples call him? Because they wasn't speaking English, Latin. They were speaking a form of Greek that even Greeks don't know how to speak, called Koine Greek, but they were speaking Aramaic at the time. And it's like, they were speaking that, and they were still speaking the Paleo at the time. And when you look into it, it's like his name was Yahushua. So those is the two biggest. I feel like if you already praying and you praying to Jesus, you praying to God, why not elevate your prayers a little bit? Why not give it a power boost and say the names of the Most High with the language, our language, the Lashawan Kodash. The Most High and Jesus, they know who you're directing the energy to. Right. But at the same time, it's like, give it a little power boost. You know what I'm saying? Call them by their names. Let's start that. You know what I mean? Let's start that as a people. Let's start using our language. That's kind of like what I got to say about that.
Do you feel that believers should wear fringes? Like it's a must?
It's not a must, because me and my Aki was talking about this, man. Me and the Aki, there's no ordinance in the scriptures for not wearing your fringes or not having a beard. If a brother could get a job and all he got to do is trim up his beard, let that brother trim his beard and get a job. Don't kick him out the camp. If the brother is caught not wearing fringes, what ordinance can you find in the scriptures to tell this brother, oh, you sinning? Because it's not a sin. Right. It's just, if you put on the fringes, you just practicing being an Israelite. And Chinese, they got the ancient ways, how they dress, the Native Americans, they got their ways. Our way is the fringes. So it's like, some days throw on some fringes, put it on on some kente cloth or like a dashiki or something. I got my fringes on right now with this one. So I got my fringes on. Mm-hmm. It's not a must, but it's like, practice that, get into that, because in the kingdom, that's what we doing.
Just showing your culture. That's what's up.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
God bless you, brother. Thank you so much for giving us this interview, and it's dope to hear a Hebrew Israelite actually has Christian values. So I was trying to tell people, like, we are Christians, but hey, man, we believe that we are the children of the Most High. So
that's right.
Don't get it twisted. Me saying a Christian, thinking that I believe the people that are over in Israel are the chosen people of God. No, I do not at all. So
no, that's true.
Thank you.
Yeah, hey, no problem. And thanks for having me. Really, man. The water. That means thank you in the ancient paleo. The water.
Absolutely. Hey, do you believe we living in the last days?
I truly do, man. We definitely in the last days during COVID. People was like, hey, where's COVID in the Bible? If that Bible's real, and I'm like, look, it's right here. The Most High say He's gonna send pestilence to this earth. That's what this is, a pestilence. So it's like, I definitely believe we in the last days. Everything we see, if you read Amos chapter 8, just read on down, that's what's happening to our people. Hosea 4 and 6. People lacking a lack of knowledge in these days. And it's crazy because we in a time of intelligence. People just choose to be ignorant.
Right.
And that's why we see things happening in the world the way it is. It's a bunch of ignorance going on.
Yeah, and that's all. We'll appreciate you coming on and spread knowledge. It will definitely cause people to, if they want to do more research or continue to be a stronger follower.
Stock up in their relationship. Stock up. They say we might be getting hit by.
So
we definitely appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Thank you for giving us your time. Continue to fight for the kingdom, stay in the word, and we'll definitely keep in touch.